It's a sunny holiday weekend at Silverstone, and here's your first big surprise of the weekend. Morgan on pole for the first time ever, ahead of the Hexis Aston Martin of Thomas Ackery by just 0.3 of a second. Audi just got quicker all weekend. The Rosberg number 32 is third place, Nicholas Armindo at the wheel. Silverstone, 5 kilometres, 3 and a bit miles, 17 turns, dry and clear. The air's 15 degrees, the track temperature 25 degrees. It's a perfect day to go racing, so let's not wait any longer. The Wiesmann GT leading car into the pit lane. Pole man Dimitri Engelbert on the left-hand side of the picture with Thomas Ackery alongside. They're looking ahead above the track to the gantry for the green light that says 2009 is go! And we're off. 20,000 horsepower banging down the main straight at Silverstone into turn one at Cops. Ackery's got the jump on Engelbert. The Audis have swapped places, I believe, and everybody else pretty much in grid order as they run down towards Baggett and Beckett's, and it isn't over yet. Engelbert comes straight back at Thomas Ackery, and through he goes back into the lead. So the Audi's indefinitely in the wrong way round there, and Christopher Mies has got past Nicholas Armindo to take third place. But it's Morgan from pole position, leading the Hexis Aston Martin of Thomas Ackery, who we know from last year, very, very quick. One of several drivers in with a shout at the title by the time we got to the end of the season. And still in pretty much grid order, number 7 there. That's the highest place Ferrari. Paolo Bonifacio in 7th place, behind the Morgan of Gaël Lesoudier. And behind him, he's got the Corvette, driven by Luca Piri, number 17, yellow and silver. Oh, he did have, but he hasn't now. Piri's gone back a place. And the Audi's closing right up on Thomas Ackery and on each other as well. That's going to be a struggle. Those cars have just got quicker and quicker all weekend. They look so well planted in the fast corners, really living up to the R8's road-going reputation. And and there's a spin there, going backwards. That's Gaël Lesoudier. And I think he did that one all by himself. Let's have a look. Yes, just lost the back end of the Morgan. And Bonifacio coming under attack as well. Oh, and that is Walter Salles, number 1. That is the Ford GT, and again, he did it all by himself, but look who he's collected. The Aston Martin of British GT champion James Gornall. That's David Loix in the Porsche bouncing over the grass, and that's a shame for the British GT duo. We've got a late deal to come here and race in this championship, and that radiator means they'll be in pit lane and out of action any time now. Morgan leads it. Audi plus Audi battling behind the Aston Martin of Ackery, and that is the end of the line, and it's not all over yet. And that's the number 4 Aston Martin of Manuel Rodriguez, touched with Gilles Vanelay. Vanelay got away with it. That's the Callaway Corvette, out with a little bit of smoke. We've seen that from the gearbox before, and there's another touch as well. It's happening all over the place. Bonifacio passed by Jaromir Juric, and they had a little stab together there, and Chris Niarchos has closed right up in the Ferrari. He's sharing with Chris Goodwin for this weekend only. Bonifacio trailing smoke. He's obviously been tagged, and there's bodywork rubbing on the wheel. It might burn away, or he might have to stop. Our first look at the Jaguar today at Silverstone as well, as the whole field queues up to get past the Ferrari. He's going to have to do a whole lap like that before he can come into the pits. Mies and Armindo, Audi versus Audi, and Phoenix versus Rosberg. The Morgan just getting away a little bit, but I think Thomas Ackery's got the gap pegged, but he's got mirrors full of Audi, and he's going to have to think about that, and they're thinking about each other. Had a look down the inside, but there was no room. Just settled back. Here's the view back from on board with Thomas Ackery in the Hexis Aston Martin. At those two Aston Martin objects on the onboard camera could be closer than they appear. How did he do that? Nicholas Armindo straight-lined the approach to the corner there. Somehow or other he missed everything and bounced off the grass. And he survives to carry on. Let's have a look at that again. Ducks out ever so late on the brakes, nowhere to go but the grass, but he threaded his way between the other two, goes over the infield and comes back out onto club And into the pits comes the 101 car, Le Soudier to Maxime Martin. This has been an early pit stop, and it's not the first though. Pascal Ballet handing over the number 14 Ferrari to Jonathan Sickart. And Marcus Gedlich has parked that Zakspeed Viper very firmly in the wall, just taken it over after the pit stops, and his race very short indeed. Johan Boris Shire taking over from the race leader. They came in with 2 seconds in hand. Pit lane's very busy, everybody else is in. I saw the 2 Audis in the background there. Thomas Ackery also coming in. He'll hand over to Julian Rodriguez. He was 2 seconds behind the Morgan, 2 seconds ahead of the 26 Audi, which is also in this lap. How will they fare? They have to take a minimum of 70 seconds from pit in to pit out. It's about a 22-second drive-through. It's the end of the day for the number 7 car. Claudio Ricci's taking it over, but he's not going any farther. The pit lane is open for a specified time. They must take no less than 70 seconds or come back and pay a stop-go. And let's see how they rejoin. This is the race leader at the moment on track. That is the Morgan, and that Aston Martin is going to slot right in behind it. All of those, there it is, just a glimpse of it. So Johan Boris Shire in the leading car. There is Rodriguez, and there's the Audi right behind. So they've been into the pits, changed drivers and come out again and rejoined, not only in the same place but almost with the same gaps between them as well. That's how close it is in GT3. Formation rejoined, but Christopher Haas in the Audi now closing in on Rodriguez and starting to look very racy indeed behind him. And the Audis haven't just been getting faster and faster all weekend, they've been getting faster and faster all race, and it's only a question of time. Rodriguez will admit, I'm sure, he's not the driver that Thomas Ackery is, and although Ackery was able to keep the Audis behind him, Julian Rodriguez can't do that. And as you saw, the Audi just went slicing past without putting up a fight from the Aston Martin. Clever driving from Rodriguez, and that's the number 1 car. Sales to much, but it's been in the wars as we saw. And that might be the end of the line for that. This might be the end of the line for Morgan as well. Pole and race leadership. But that Audi with Christopher Haas at the wheel is going so quickly. Haas, of course, you'll know from GT4 last year with the crossbows, a very accomplished driver, and he made that look so neat and tidy. Found room, found track position, and just made the pass at a place of his choosing. Didn't have to wait for a braking zone. So not so hot for Morgan. And this is Diego Alessi in the Corvette holding up the Ford GT, and Tim Bergmeister in the Porsche behind him. The back end of that Corvette's all over the place. The tyres are shot. Florian Gribber on the grass there, forced wide because Alessi was watching the Porsche, and he ran the Ford GT out onto the grass. But in the corners, the back end of this Corvette is moving about all over the place, and I'd advise them to keep their distance. How long can Diego Alessi keep those two behind him with that Corvette? Oh, and that's a shame for Audi in the lead of their first race, and that looks like a wheel bearing problem. They're looking for vibration. That means Morgan, though, is back in front. So Johan Boris Shire goes back into the lead of this, and now is just yards away from converting Morgan's first GT3 pole into its first GT3 win. How about that? Morgan takes the checkered flag at Silverstone. Fantastic result for Morgan on home ground. The first GT3 pole position, followed by their first GT3 win, and both drivers pretty much ecstatic about the result.
Congratulations, Johan. It certainly was an unexpected performance in the Morgan there.
Yeah, we work on the team all the time. He gave me a fantastic car, and my team keeper take a good start. He gave me a car at the first position. For the team, for the bank, it's very well.
Champagne time on the podium, but they do it all again in just a moment.